Welcome back to the second video. Did you do any research into the subconscious mind training used with elite athletes? The subconscious mind was first used in organized sport by East Germany in 1960 at the Olympic Games. At the 1964 Olympic Games, both East Germany and Russia used it. In 1968, all the countries attending the Olympic Games had heard of the subconscious mind. We now have a new profession taught at universities, which is sports psychology. Elite athletes and sporting teams are all taught how to achieve more using the subconscious mind. Yes, we have two brains. We have been taught about the conscious mind, particularly with left brain methods of verbal language, logic, mathematics, numbers, sequence, judgment, linearity, and analysis. But we have not been taught to deliberately use the subconscious mind, which uses more of the right brain, unless, of course, you happen to be one of the lucky few. Did you know that the very first requirement of using the subconscious mind deliberately is to relax? That's right, relax. I teach about using the subconscious mind, so I am expert in relaxation. Did you know that you can relax and focus in an instant, in less than 30 seconds, even in the middle of mayhem? Now that's a useful technique to learn, especially when somebody is shouting at you, and you can make relaxation a habit. The purpose of my talk with you today is to continue to bring to your awareness some of the amazing brain and mind science available, which shows how we can deliberately use the other 88% of our mind, the subconscious mind, to relax and achieve more, and do it easily. What will be covered is this: my son's influence and how I got involved in using the subconscious mind, an exercise to know more. I will be covering the deeper meaning of visualization and guided imagery, the 4 different brainwave states. I will be introducing relaxation and sleep and expanding on what I use the theta state for. More about that later. Some compelling science. Everything I teach is proven mind and brain science. More on relaxation and sleep. Examples of success. Because life is not always predictable, we are going to do it in a different order. We'll start with 4 quick success stories.
David, a medical doctor, used the techniques to relax and release stress. He was going home at the end of each workday exhausted. He drank scotch for an hour by himself at the end of the day, and his relationship with his children and his wife suffered as a consequence. After coming to Sandy's seminar, he was then able to relax in 30 seconds between each patient. Within 3 weeks he was off the alcohol and dining with his family. His productivity and accuracy of diagnosis increased, and he saw more patients every day. Georgina was a student who was doing badly in her schoolwork. She wanted to improve and go to university, yet she was completely stressed out. She used the techniques not only to relax, but for memory as well. She rewrote all her notes in mind map format. Within 6 months, Georgina went from the bottom 10% of the class to the top 10% and successfully attended university. Kevin was wallowing in despair for 6 years, not being able to rid himself of a constant feeling of dread due mainly to lack of sleep. Using the techniques, Kevin reported that he now sleeps for 7 to 8 hours every night and has left behind the feeling of despair. He says, "Yes, I have some interruptions to my sleep, but now I understand it. I can easily go back to deep, dreamless sleep." This is Helen's story in her own words. I did your seminar with the main goal being to release weight. I was at the stage of giving up. I had tried unsuccessfully every diet known to man. I applied the techniques I learned, especially to overcome my own negative self-talk and how I let others influence my negative self-talk. And I played the weight release audio to build new habits. My weight just started dropping off. First of all, I released 20 kilograms and couldn't believe it. I was really on my way. I kept at it, and after 2 years I released 70 kilograms. Yes, that is right, 70 kilograms. Can you believe it? That is more than I weigh now. I changed the way I talk to myself and others. When people ask me how much weight I have lost, I always say, I have not lost a thing because I don't want it back. I have released it. Let it go. Don't hang on to it. It can be done. It has been done.
These successes are about stress, productivity, education, sleep, and weight release. I am hearing you say, why do the techniques work for such a diversity of issues? When you buy a computer, it will not work without an operating system for which you need a manual. Our mind is the operating system. No computer has yet been designed to match the amazing potential of your mind. So my techniques are a manual to deliberately use all of your mind, your operating system. Here's a chance to interact with me. Do you believe that you can successfully use the subconscious mind to assist with depression, health, dealing with grief, overcoming phobias, anger habits? Thanks for participating. What's your answer? I want you to know that I have clients who have successfully dealt with all these issues and more.
Sandy first learned about the subconscious mind from his son Andrew in 1981. Andrew was 17 years old and had had asthma since he was 2. He steadily got worse despite the medical treatment and ended up in hospital in a coma on a cortisone drip near death's door. He had done everything that traditional medicine offered. So Sandy took him to a different kind of doctor, an Indian doctor called Kali Anasundram. He taught Andrew how to use the subconscious mind. Andrew learned how to relax between each bout of asthma, preventing the panic situation, and, within 3 weeks of seeing the doctor, he handled most of his asthma attacks without even the use of a puffer. Then Andrew broke his leg. He was on a motorbike, argument with a bus. The professor at the hospital said that it would have to be amputated because he had to be on cortisone. At the time it was the only thing that would keep his infection down, and cortisone impedes the growth of bone marrow, so the leg wouldn't heal. Sandy said, "Don't do it yet," and he called in Kali Anasundram. He taught Andrew more about the subconscious mind, how to meditate and focus on increasing his immune system to heal his leg. He also taught him how to handle the pain. The professor reduced the dose of cortisone and did the operation. Andrew still has his leg today. Sandy had never heard of the subconscious mind back then. He was a very left-brained, analytical, skeptical civil engineer and retired military colonel. He commanded the original tunnel rats in Vietnam in 1965, and all that work was very left-brained, working out from first principles how to deal with booby traps and unexploded bombs. However, he was really impressed with what Andrew had achieved and asked Andrew to teach him. Sandy needed to prove it to himself, so he worked on weight release. He was pretty big. So Andrew advised him and helped him to make his own guided imagery tape. At this time in his life, Sandy had a lot of negative self-talk, and he wasn't aware then of how damaging that can be. Scientists tell us that we talk to ourselves 50,000 times a day. Deepak Chopra says 65,000 times a day. If we are talking to ourselves negatively, can we affect ourselves negatively? Of course. And it has been scientifically proven. Roger Sperry received a Nobel Prize in 1981 for dividing the functions of the left and right brain. So he's a smart man. Prior to winning the Nobel Prize, Professor Sperry proved that negative talk attracts negative talk, which leads to negative action and then to negative reaction. The corollary, fortunately, is true. Positive thoughts attract positive thoughts. So Sandy learnt to change his self-talk. With Andrew's help and doing the tapes 3 times a day, he developed new habits and released 22 kilos or 49 pounds in 6 months and 18 centimetres or 7 inches off his waist. Did you notice the word used was released, not lost? What do you want to do when you lose anything? That's right, find it, get it back. Lost is one of those negative words, and the weight loss industry is self-perpetuating. Lose a couple of pounds and then find it again. The weight release industry is the one to be in. The Buddhists in the Himalayas, writes Dr. Joseph Murphy in his book The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, can bring down their pulse strength and decrease their blood pressure quickly. Sandy also learned how to do this and practiced. Then, to test himself in front of a doctor, he decreased the strength of his own pulse. The doctor couldn't even feel it, and he brought down his blood pressure by 20 points, both in less than 30 seconds.
So here is an exercise that you might like to do before the next video. How many different ways of using the subconscious mind have you heard mentioned in the last 2 videos? In the 3rd video, we will cover experiencing an exercise, how many ways can you visualize, what is guided imagery, the deeper meaning of visualization and guided imagery.